Hello, Mary.
Oh, hello, Andrew.
Oh, hi, Mary.
How are you?
I'm good.
I've just heard your program, but I wanted to speak, as you know, you very well know my topics, but I received a letter at Christmas from one of the people that had gone through this experience in the home that I was brought up in.
Yeah, just so people can recognise you, Mary. Mary's somebody who has been through institutional abuse through the Nearcol orphanage. So I just so that there's a context there, Mary.
Right, Andrew. And it saddened me greatly reading this 2-page letter from a boy who had spent the time during my period in the home. And my remembrance of this boy was he was extremely brilliant. You know, he was a very bright boy, and he went through to Brendan's College. And in the letter he wrote about the effects that it had on his life and how it sent his life into complete turmoil, and was never able to marry, or now he's living in a boarding house and things like this. But basically in his letter he talks about the floggings and the way that the education, even though he ended up going to college, how much it affected his brain thereafter. Yeah. You know, the beatings that he got during his school period, and I can vouch for that myself and that sort of thing. And it's a tragic circumstances, because I've come, in my line of work now, I've come across a lot of people who have left those institutions. And I was only just talking to my brother a few moments ago, who said to me, you know, it's just incredible the amount of people that lost their way after having experienced this, you know.
And people don't appreciate the damage that's done. They don't appreciate it. It's an intangible thing, and we don't see it on their faces, and they're not walking around with cigarette burns or baseball bats in the back of their head. So people don't appreciate the damage that's done.
No, that's right, Andrew. And you know, and this is something that people have really got to realise. They're scarred for life. And I was listening to a program by one of the sisters talking about the Aboriginal, the stolen generation, and she turned around and she said, what I'd like to hear from them is a thank you.
Even a sorry.
Instead of the sorry. And, you know, I mean, everyone tries to push for the sorry issue, but sometimes I look at it and I think to myself, how do you say sorry for the things that they did to some of these children?
Well, a lot of the children are now saying, of course, Mary, that compensation is equally, or is as important as anything else, and it amazes me that the whole issue of compensation has been one that has been downplayed by this government and any other government. So, Mary, thank you for joining us today. We're speaking with David O'Neill, who is the author of When Angels Cry. Hello, Margaret.
Hello. Yes, I have experienced it. I could tell you it pretty well changed my life. I wasn't sexually abused in terms of what people assume. My adoptive father treated me grabbed at me and called me beautiful and things like that.
That's sexual abuse, mate.
It is. I find that hard to comprehend myself.
Yeah.
That's hard. It ruined my teenage life. I thought I was attractive to him, which was obviously.
Well, that happens too. That one of the girls that pressed charges against my father and then dropped them later. I think dropped them. She was 13 at the time, and I think she dropped the charges because she was somewhat embarrassed that she actually did have a bit of a crush on Dad at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
as a child, I loved him.
Yeah.
And somewhere when I reached puberty, all of a sudden he was lunging at me all the time, and I became withdrawn.
Yeah.
I had a sparkling personality and was always so bright, and it ruined my teenage life. I was divorced. I never had children. It took me a long time to understand that it wasn't me.
Yeah, and come back to being
you.
you.
It made me.
Yeah.
It made me sick.
I hope the people that are listening to you and the others talking understand or are beginning to understand the ramifications of this problem.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you, therapy did help me.
Yes.
It did open doors. I was a tough one. I couldn't cry. It just. Yeah. It affects everyone differently, and it affected me horrendously.
Yeah. And if you don't go looking for help, it's a kind of a problem that just goes round and round inside your head and kind of tends to stagnate, and you need some you need some fresh water, some fresh thought into your pool of thought to get anywhere.
I think society as well always gives the impression that abuse is the penetration, is intercourse, whereas no, I can vouch it
can be extremely subtle.
Yeah, it was, but it ruined my confidence as a person, as a woman, everything.
Yeah. And people who haven't experienced that don't understand how it can damage you.
It's taken years and years and years to ruin my love life, my marriage, everything.
Yeah.
And now I'm not seeing it bitter anymore, but a fact. I can cry over it. It's nearly over, and I made myself sick over the whole thing, but I'm coming out of it now. But
well, that's great.
Coming to terms with the fact that it is abuse took me a long time. I nearly felt it. I keep sort of still saying not really, but it was. It was ruined.
We'll talk about where you can get the book from in a minute, because I really enjoy knowing that people like yourself are reading my book, because I know that you'll relate very strongly to some of the things I write about.
Yes.
All right, Margaret. I thank you for that. Look, and I have to do this every time we have talk back. I do have to apologise to those of you who have sat on the line for a while and wanted to talk to us. We've been speaking with David O'Neill. You did mention you wanted to let people know where they can get the book, David. Please let us know.
The book's available in certain bookstores in Brisbane and the Gold Coast. I'm promoting it myself, so it's a slow process. The easiest thing to do, and you can call this number right now and leave a message, is to phone Brisbane 3423 1793, or you can fax 3423 1794. But it is available in certain bookstores: Dimmock's, Coldrake's, Riverbend Books, the Book Bank here at Toowong Village on the top floor, Mary Ryan's bookstores, and a number of others.
All right, David O'Neill, we have to finish it there, and I appreciate you coming in and talking to us. Hopefully we can do it again.
Thanks, Andrew.
David O'Neill, who's the author of When Angels Cry.